Now, so the Bretonnians are a team that they added in to Blood Bowl 2. It wasn't in Chaos Edition. They are very cheap in terms of their trash players. Their linemen are very cheap, but they are also awful. The team is very comfortable in a melee. Like if they have the skill, all the skills to handle themselves in a big scrap. And their blitzers or their knights are amazing players, like just so good. They are completely necessary for the team. If you lose your knights as a Bretonnian team, you will lose the game almost certainly. And they are extremely expensive. They level up quickly, but they have big target on their back. The Bretonnians struggle heavily when fighting against teams with a lot of bashing skills. So orcs do really well against Bretonnians because they're low armor. And unless you get some lucky rolls, you're not going to have a single agility orc piece. Let's just have a look at the players quickly. The Bretonnians have one of the shallowest rosters that is available. They only have 3 pieces. Let's start with the knights, the kings of this team. These are your gods. They can do everything. They get general skills, agility skills, passing skills. They're movement 7, which makes them really quick. Strength 3, agility 3, and armor value 8, so they're not the toughest. They start with block, catch, and dauntless, which means that they can contend with the higher strength pieces, they can contend with opposing blitzers, and this enables them to have a sort of interesting playstyle with the catch, which I'll go into a bit later. The blockers are movement 6, strength 3, agility 3, armor value 8, and they all start with wrestle. This is kind of handy because wrestle is quite an underused skill, and it makes them really good at playing against block-heavy teams. Because when you roll both down and you have wrestle, you actually knock both players to the ground, but no one takes any armor damage. And their linemen, who are awful. Movement 6, strength 3, agility 2, armor value 7.
Yeah, on the plus side though, they have fend, so potentially they won't be followed up as much on.
Exactly. This is one of the reasons why Bretonnians are quite good in a scrap, is the fact that they can usually get more blocks on their opponent than their opponent can get on them. You're also pretty much guaranteed to have a couple of free pieces each turn, because fend stops people, as you say, following up, putting another tackle zone on it, which means you can move your linemen around a little bit to give assists to your better players. Their rerolls are expensive. 70,000 is a pretty expensive reroll. That's pretty much all of note there. Let's go take a look at a team I would take into a tournament if I was playing Bretts. So this is the team I would take. I'm not sure whether or not I would actually take about 2 blockers to start with. I might want to take a 3rd reroll, or maybe just knock him off. Take a 3rd reroll. I definitely start with all 4 blitzers. They are the only players really on the team capable of moving or handling the ball. Now the blitzers, because they all have catch, allows for sort of quite an interesting playstyle, which is very based around handoffs. So whenever I play Bretonnians, and I'm not very experienced with them, I just use one of the blitzers in the backfield to pick up the ball. I run it forwards to a blitzer who I've placed on the line of scrimmage. I hand the ball off to him. I run him forwards through a hole which another blitzer has created, and I use my 4th blitzer and one of my blockers to create a sideline cage, which is a cage involving only 3 pieces, and that always leaves my blitzer in a position to score the 2nd turn. And in general, I like scoring fast on these guys because they don't have the armor or the skills to withstand like heavy blocking.
So you want to be playing like a dedicated melee team, blocking team against these guys, but if if you're playing a more agile team, you're going to be doing the same kind of screening,
Yep, absolutely.
making them do a very slow advance.
Making them slow them down, try and bog them down. The weaker teams like Skaven can actually perform pretty well against Bretonnians because they're low armor and they don't have a lot of block. So they can actually win a bash war against Bretonnians, which, you know, most Skaven teams can't. One of the best things, though, about the Bretonnians is that the 3 linemen all have Fend, which means Frenzy does nothing. So some of the scarier big guys like the Minotaur or the Rat Ogre or the Yeti for the Norse team actually do very little of use against them. These are some of the best players to put up against a big guy. And that's pretty much it for the Bretonnians. They're a bit of a lackluster team in my opinion. I don't particularly enjoy playing them. I don't have a lot of experience with them. But, you know, there are people who like them.
Might be that you just need more experience to get to know them, get to like them a bit more.
Exactly. I should really play them a bit more and see what gives with them. But yeah, that's it for the Bretonnians, so take care.